Let's talk crochet. Hey folks, it's Mary, aka MercyTriumphs, and this is Slow Crochet. This is episode 061. I've gotten in the habit of numbering just the podcast episodes where I'm checking in and talking about the things that I've been crocheting this week and any kind of yarny adventures that are kind of within that realm of a weekly update. So this week I want to catch you guys up on some of the things that I have finished, some of the new projects that I've either started and completed, and just anything else that I've been getting into with yarn and hooks this week. So let me start with completed projects. One of them is something that I had started last week. I was really close to being finished and I love how it turned out. And that is my granny square bottomed market bag. So this is a bag that I learned about from Lisa over at Happy to Hook Creations, and she does these gorgeous market bags for sale in her Etsy shop. I did not make mine exactly the way that she did, but this was the first time that I had followed this pattern, and I really liked it. I also used a yarn that she had first showed on her channel, and I love it. I only have a little bit left, but it is Crafter's Secret from Hobby Lobby. It is the color Haute Pink, and out of 3 skeins of this, I only have this little bit left over. So to make this bag, modifications. Number 1, I did use a size I crochet hook, a 5.5 millimeter hook. And one of the first things you notice is I do have a button closure here. I did a chain stitch with some single crochet back into it to create a button closure there. I also did not make incredibly long handles. I made them really short because I wanted this to be more of a purse that I could just kind of tuck under my arm here and keep everything nice and tight. I don't really like having long, loose handles on my bags. I have some of those already, and for my style and what I'm looking for, it just wasn't my thing. So I kept the handles pretty short. I did, either 6 or 8 rows of single crochets here. And I also modified by kind of pulling it in on 2 of the edges. As you go around, you kind of have these 4 corners and kind of 4 more divots. So you're expanding in 4 places and then you're drawing it back in 4 places. So what happens is you have these different sides, and I decided that 2 of those sides I would do some single crochet 2 togethers and just space those out so that the bag turns out a little bit more gathered in on the sides rather than going just straight up and down. I wanted a little bit more control over how stuff was coming in and out of the bag, so I didn't want it quite as wide at the top. My thought for this bag is to have it for when I need to go to the gym or just run out real quick and I don't want to lug around my whole big main purse. I needed some space for a project or a water bottle in there and maybe 1 or 2 necessities. But I just didn't want something big and cumbersome. So I do absolutely love how this turned out. I loved working with the yarn. I love how joyful these colors are. The pink and the kind of pastel colors, they almost seem to be like pastel colors with commitment. Like they're really strong in their pasteliness. They don't go quietly into that good night. Yeah, I just love the way that they all came together. I love that they kind of model together. And yeah, very happy with that pattern, very happy that that is complete, and I already have used this a couple of times already. I'm really glad to have this in my wardrobe, something I can pull from to use in a pinch. So happy to have that one done. All right, the next project that I hadn't even started when I filmed last week's podcast was a baby sweater. So I do have several friends that are expecting children coming up in the next few months. So you will see more baby projects in the next little bit. But I do have a shower this weekend for a little girl that is due soon. And I thought this would be a good time to use this Baby Blossom DK from Hayfield that I picked up last month or so. I don't even think I did a podcast on it or a video on it because sadly it came from a yarn store that was closing, and it just didn't feel right to do a yarn haul from a store that was closing. It was actually kind of sad. But anyway, I did get 2 balls of this Baby Blossom DK by Hayfield. And it is one of those yarns that is specifically designed for knitters, because as you knit, you're supposed to get this kind of rosebud effect as you knit. So I wasn't sure how that would come out in crochet, but I went with it anyway, and I think it's interesting. I think it's pretty. This was my first time working with a hayfield yarn, and it is 70% acrylic, 30% nylon. It comes in a 100-gram hank or ball, and it is 362 yards approximately. So this one was Little Lavender. So again, I got 2 of these, and I used most of one to make the sweater. The sweater is the Baby Wrap sweater, and it is by Beth Temple, and I will have that linked below. I used a 5.0 millimeter hook. I used my metal prim hook for that. I did enjoy using this hook. I did want to kind of make it a smaller size, and yeah, I really like how it turned out. So this is the sweater. So when I am doing baby gifts, I prefer to do like a wrap style sweater, because getting things up over a baby's head can be really annoying and really challenging. I do try to stay away a little bit from buttons these days, just because I don't want babies to pull those off. So I did this wrap sweater, and you can see how that yarn is playing out. Doesn't exactly look like a little field of rosebuds, but I think it is still quite effective. I did have to color control a little bit to get the sleeves to match up, but I think I did an adequate job of that. I think it's going to be all right. I stuck really close to the pattern itself. One of the main things that I did differently though was, instead of doing like a chain stitch and then crocheting back into that chain, I actually did an I-cord from the YouTuber Tula Maria, and I'll have that linked below. It was probably my favorite part of making this sweater, because I'd never done a crocheted I-cord like that before, and it turned out so effectively. It was just a little short that she had put up, but it was magnificent. I'm gonna have to go back to this again and again when I need to do drawstrings, because definitely that I-cord is just, it's fantastic. It's so much easier than chaining and then working back into the chain, and I feel like it's gonna be a lot sturdier too. And it really wasn't that cumbersome to do either. It came out really quick. This was the first time I had done this pattern, and while I really love the texture of it, and I really do love how it turned out, I will say there was quite a bit of sewing involved in this. So you had to sew up the top seams here, and then you had to sew the sleeve onto the body, and then you had to go back and sew up the sleeve seam. So it wasn't one where you just crocheted onto the garment itself, but since it's a small garment, and also since these are pretty good friends of ours, I am glad that I have it done, and it was well worth the effort. I think this will fit maybe a size 6 months, maybe, hopefully. I know here where we live, it can be pretty chilly inside in the air conditioning, even in the summer. So I'm aiming kind of for a lightweight early autumn, or even like an air conditioning kind of experience where you just need something to be a little bit cuddly. And since it's a wrap style sweater, it ought to have some flexibility. Baby's not going to outgrow it super quickly. Although this family does tend to have large babies, so hopefully they'll be able to wear it. If not, it was still a joy to make, and I'm sure she will appreciate it at the shower. My third completed project for this week was totally a whim. I was actually thinking of making something entirely different. I noticed that my friend Ella over at No Catchy Name Crochet was doing a frog-themed make-along. It's #LeapfrogMal2024. And so I watched her video, and I saw that there's a bunch of YouTubers making frogs in this month of February 2024, because it is a leap year. And I thought, you know what? It's about time I made another frog. So I am not going to participate grandly in this make-along, and I will leave Ella's channel and that particular video linked, because she does have in that video description all the different YouTubers that are part of this make-along. But I thought, hey, I love complicated knots frogs. I've already made them twice before, so let me just go ahead and make one more. This is the one that I'm going to keep up here on my shelf, and this little guy is made from Red Heart stripes in the color Retro Stripe. I had just this little scrap left, and oh my goodness, I just love him. I love him every time I make him. I love Not that I don't love cuter amigurumis, but the naturalistic shape is just so rewarding, and he's so easy to make. So this was actually my last little pair of eyes. I probably do need to get more because there are a few more amigurumi type things that I want to make. There's actually another frog that I need to make, or that I hope to make soon. When I could have been doing something else that was on my mental docket list, I just went ahead and made the frog. So here you go. Here's my little entry into Leapfrog Mal 2024, and Kylie's pattern. Her online tutorial will be linked in the description as well. Ongoing projects this week. Number one, I want to check in on my hexagon scrap blanket, and I do need your opinion on this. Here is where I'm at. I put 2 bright stitch markers right in the middle to show, and the main factor here is that my yarn on the edges is like a red heart Aran tweed, I think. Now I am running a little bit short on that, and I'm not really sure that I actually want to go and spend money on more yarn right now. So here's my question to you. How would it look if I switched from the birch tweed and started doing like a cream color? So from the blank slate blanket, I do have some of this off-white in the Karen 1 pound left. So how would it look if I started doing maybe some of this color around? Let me know what you think. Should I go ahead and just get some more of this Red Heart Aran tweed and keep it all the same? Or in the spirit of using what I have and making it truly a scrap project, should I start working in some of this off-white? I was thinking maybe I could do like a concentric circle of this off-white, and then maybe even making the bulk of this, the rest of it in off-white, like this is just the center, and then maybe having like a little smattering of the Aran tweed color, because I do have an entire Karen 1 pound left that I didn't get to from my blank slate blanket. So if I'm doing a scrap blanket, if I'm working from stash, which is really the heart of this project, you know, part of me leans towards not buying more yarn specifically for this project, but let me know what you think. Would that be weird, or would that look bad? How would you work that out? If I make it look in like maybe intentional and then like a starry splatter paint of the extra, I don't know, let me know. I'm curious. This is gonna be my main check-in on this project for this month, and I will show it off again, see what progress I've made on my scrappy, solidly acrylic blanket in March. One more project that is a work in progress, and that is my fall to winter sweater. This is the one where I am using Respect by Lion Brand, which is a combination of recycled polyester and acrylic and cotton. And I'm using 6 and maybe a half colors of this. This is a sweater that is coming along so quickly. And here it is. So I have the back panel, and then the sleeves, and then I have the front panel that is mirroring it. It looks a mess right now, but basically what the pattern calls for is for you to make essentially a T shape, and then you'll seam it together, and then you'll add on like a neckband and cuffs. So right now, this is coming along really well. I think I am gonna have more than enough yarn. I was a little concerned. I had to do some weighing, some measuring to make sure, but I think I'll have enough to make it the size that I want. This is going to be kind of a fitted sweater. It is going to be slightly cropped, so it's not going to go all the way down to my hip bones. It'll sit more at my natural waist. And so I think also in the pattern itself, it makes kind of a boat neck top. I know for sure that I really don't like having a lot of things touching my neck really close up. I don't like feeling choked. So I am gonna shape the neckline a little bit and change the pattern that way. But other than that, this is really coming along quite beautifully. I do have this one stripe of the green here in the center, and I have just a little bit of that left. I might save that for the neckline. But other than that, it's just these 6 colors that are kind of repeating through there, and I'm halfway randomizing it and halfway trying to be intentional, controlled randomness, I suppose. But I'm loving how this is coming along. I'm excited for this to be done soon. As we move towards spring, this will be a great kind of transitional piece. Also, in terms of working through my stash and working through these sweaters, I'm just I'm happy to have one so close to completion because that means I'll get to start on another one. Speaking of starts, I have started a project, and again, I'm going to need your help on this. I don't have anyone in my life that I can just talk crochet with. My closest friend that I do get to talk crochet with, we just don't get to see each other that often, very sadly. This is where I need y'all to come in. I have decided to do a shawl by Morben Designs by Jasmine Rasainen. I've done a couple of her shawls before and I love them. So the question is, I am using this Queensland Rainbow Beach. It is supposedly 100% superwash wool, and it's supposedly a size 2 weight. And I have more than enough of the yarn itself. But my question is, how's that for a shawl? I'm concerned that what I have so far is not going to lay the way I want it to. First of all, let's look at that 2 weight. Does that look like a 2 weight to you, or does it? I mean, to me it looks pretty thick. I've been using a 4.25 millimeter hook, which is larger than the hook size called for, but maybe I need to go up even more. Maybe I need to frog this back. I'm concerned that at this starting point with just a few rows in, that it's not gonna block out the way I want it to, that it's just way too tight and it's gonna curl up in on itself. I do tend to have tight tension, and I have to mitigate that a little bit because at some point there aren't enough hook sizes to go up before it cramps my hands. I am trying to work with thinner yarns, but I don't know, maybe this is just a factor of this particular yarn being a thicker side of a 2 weight, and it's just not, it's behaving more as a rougher wool, not necessarily a superwash. And maybe it's just that combination of hook and pattern and wool itself that's making it not quite want to lay the way I want it to. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. I am excited for this pattern. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. It is a free pattern, but you have to sign up for, I think it's crazypatterns.net in order to get access to it. So I did go and print this out at the library, but yes, please do give me your thoughts. Should I go up a hook size? Do you think that this is more of a DK weight? I mean, maybe I'm just inexperienced. When I was at the yarn shop talking about this yarn, she was saying, oh, well, it is a sport weight, and she stretched it out to show me. But my thought is, you don't necessarily need to stretch out yarn to show what weight they are. I thought when you were determining yarn weight that you wanted like a gentle wrap, not a stretched out wrap. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on that. I do think I need to frog this at some point. I do want to work up this pattern, but let me know what you think. I could definitely use your expert opinions there. While I was at the library, I wandered over to the crochet books, as you do. I was trying to think if I wanted to request my library to buy some new books. And I was thinking of my friend Marsha, and she is always talking about her favorite amigurumi designers. She's talking about Pika Pau and Kuke. And actually, in my mind, I was thinking that they were the exact same person. I don't know why it was, but I just thought, some people go by different names, like Mary and MercyTriumphs. Maybe it's actually the same person. Anyway, as I was looking through those books and I was thinking of my friend, wouldn't you know, this book just jumped out at me. Sure enough, it is from Kuke, and what a joy to actually get a hold of a book like this and be inspired. I have loved looking through this book, and I'm excited to get into it and learn more about this designer's process. I think, now I don't know how long I'll get to keep this book. Usually it's about 3 weeks unless someone else puts it on hold, but I love this little Nana doll. I love her. I think she is so sweet. So I think if I were to start with any kind of crochet project from this book, I would start here. Knowing that my library has this book means that I'll be able to get it time and again. And yeah, I'm excited to be inspired by it. I love going to the library and finding wonderful treasures there. One last thing I wanted to show you guys. A few weeks ago, I finished my Catalina Wrap, which is a pattern by Two of Wands, and I did it all in black, expecting that I would have a fancy dinner to go to, and I promised you guys I would show you pictures if I ended up going. So here are the pictures. One of them is just me kind of showing the shawl before we went out, and the other is my husband and me at the event itself. It was a work event in a little town outside of Nashville, and we got to catch up with some friends there and had a really wonderful time. It's always wonderful to get to dress up, and that shawl ended up being just perfect. The weather was on the chillier side, but it wasn't properly cold, so it was enough to help me feel elegant and beautiful as I was wearing my long fancy dress. So yes, that is it for me for this week. Thank you so much for coming along with me as I ramble about all of my little crochet adventures. Thank you so much for your help in my projects. What should I do about that cream colored yarn in my scrap blanket, and what should I do about this shawl? I would love to hear your feedback. I really appreciate y'all for taking the time to share your wisdom with me, because I always feel so enriched by it. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. Thank you to everyone who has come along for this little yarny adventure with me as I send all this out into the interwebs. I really appreciate y'all. I do appreciate you when you like and share and you comment and you subscribe to the channel. That's always super encouraging, and I love connecting with y'all in the comments. If I'm not your cup of tea, thank you. Thank you so much for listening this long. I do appreciate you. And I do hope I'll see you again soon. Bye.